You back home?
Oh yeah, yep, yep.
We're just
I
waiting on
was
you.
um, I
Here
was
we
going to
go.
shoot over to St. Louis, but that didn't work out. So I ended up coming back here for a little bit. I figured I'll hang out here for a week or two, integrate,
You
before
still
I take off.
celibate?
Actually, yes. I
Hang
mean,
on.
physically, but not
So,
emotionally, and
all right.
not in every other way you can think of. But physically, yes.
So I'm gonna put on the intro. So the mic's gonna be hot, so your voice will
Okay.
come through. Just so you know, I'm gonna put it on so people can come in, have time to come in.
Okay.
Hello, Louise. It's back to work Sunday. I had my day off last night.
Uh,
Had a
one day off,
friend
huh?
had a friend come in, popped in, a sister came in and visited. Wait, let me pull you up. Okay. All right, man. Got Steven Savage in the house. He's been on the road, going through a lot of stuff like
Oh,
everybody,
oh yeah.
and making some video. I saw that one. Wow, what a week. Where do you want to start?
Well, like you're saying before, well, first of all, I'm trying to go. I'm going to attempt to keep this more PG-13 because apparently my son is watching my channel now, and I'm a very private person. I've always have been, so I don't normally, or in the past, I don't talk about my personal life, but now, of course, things are much, much different. So I want to put that out there. I want to shout out to Blake. He's 13 years old over in
Right
St.
on.
Louis. And so, like I said, I want to keep it a little more PG-13, But I definitely do want to talk a little bit about that, sacred, sexuality and all that stuff because I've been going through that, quite a bit.
Well, we talked
But
about that last time. You took a vow of celibacy.
yes, yes, and I still have. I haven't done anything physical, but I tell you what I am doing.
Hmm.
I am enjoying being a conscious creator. So it's like a thing that I've been going through now. I've been in contact with some people, and it's it's all about being a conscious creator because in the past it would be more of a give or take kind of thing. It wouldn't be like two people like, okay, I give you permission to do this, or I give you permission to act this way, or I give you permission to act this way. So now I'm actually enjoying talking to awakened people, people that are conscious creators as well, and it's a lot more fun. And I find myself not being attracted to people that are not awakened, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. That's a hard one. So, I mean, are you not attracted to the people that are not awakened? Or are you not attracted to certain people that don't have a similar frequency?
Well, it is about the frequency, definitely, because I notice that even people that are awakened, you know, they
I
doesn't
just,
mean we're going to be on the same level.
yeah, I just think that that term is that term's about like twin flame. It's just been
Yeah.
distorted. I personally, honestly, I believe that we're all beating at the same vibration. It just doesn't look that way. The minute we,
That's where,
I'm
yeah,
not
that's where
arguing.
judgment
I'm
comes
not
in.
arguing with you. I'm just saying
Hmm.
that to me, it's like, how do we know?
Right.
Like, like the minute we say something like, they're awake or I'm awake and you're not awake, uh, we create separation.
Well, yes, I totally agree, and that's all part of judgment. You know, that's all saying, oh, well, you're at my level, you're not at my level, and that kind of stuff. But that's all part of the 3D, realm.
Yeah.
But I guess, like you're saying, that's probably better to put it in that terms, that it's
Yeah.
more of a vibrational thing.
Yeah. They're not the same frequency as you. So
Hmm.
I mean, this is just me talking to myself. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Okay. But yeah, no, that's definitely something that I find myself intrigued by. People that are close to my vibration. Now that to me is what kind of turns me on. I notice it's less about the actual physicalness. It's less about, the actual, it has very little to do with looks. It has very little to do with any of that old,
Okay.
3D stuff. It's more about I'm attracted to that vibration is what I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like begets like, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
And
Indeed.
yeah, but I think, I guess I think it's there's so much okay, so everything is being magnified. You're starting to see all the shit's coming up in the global stage,
Hmm.
the trafficking, all that stuff's coming up. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
all great because it's a reflection of what's happening to us. So all of our shit's coming up. And so I think
Yeah.
that's like judgment and comparison, um, those type of things that are not going to be part of our existence in the very near future and going forward. They're all getting hammered, so it's like,
Hmm.
all these things that we have been talking about: oneness, unity consciousness, it's never them, it's always me, to thine own self be true,
Hmm.
uh, being neutral, being zero pointed, all that stuff is no longer a cliche. And so
Right.
like the
Yeah.
universe is saying, you got to walk the talk now. you know
Yeah.
how can I do it? How can I say they're not awake? How can I
Hmm.
say that, that's what's the difference between me saying somebody's not awake than me saying that person's got a certain skin pigmentation, or there's a certain
Right.
ethnicity, or
Yeah.
a certain religion, or a certain, um, from a certain country.
That's more just putting people into a box again,
Yeah, I think
kind of thing.
we're actually being put to the test now to walk the talk, and you're seeing
Hmm.
it amplified, uh, you know, to great proportions in the light worker community. And
And
I'm
I've
like,
actually, oh yeah, and that's another thing I want to talk about too, because I know you're saying that the word awaken has basically it's got a lot of baggage, and it's not the word that we really need to use anymore.
hmm,
But another word that I've had a problem with lately is ego.
yeah,
That word seems to be thrown around left and right, and it's not whether that it's right or wrong. It's just that people use that word all the time,
yeah,
and they tend to use it in a demeaning way.
yeah,
But because there's been so many people, talking back and forth. We need to get rid of the ego. We need to, we need to merge the ego. All these different, points of view. But I find a lot of people out there, especially certain YouTubers and all that kind of stuff, that they talk bad about the ego. And everyone's saying, oh well, ego, that's actually the negative aspects of being human. It's like, well, ego is, I mean, the way I see it, it's all meant to merge together.
yeah,
It's not supposed to be, oh, I need to get rid of my ego, or I need to, down people, when they're in their ego, kind of thing. Because it's, no matter how spiritual you become, at least from my perspective right now,
yeah,
we all have a little bit of the ego, but it's how you use it. Don't use it to demean people. Don't be, I mean, it's about not reacting, not getting your
yeah.
butt hurt. It's about that kind of stuff. You
I thought
know,
this was going to be PG-13. I'm kidding. So
right.
yeah, and well, yeah. I mean, it's part of us. All right,
Mhm.
whatever. It's part of us. So, you know, does it run the show, or does it serve in another capacity? Um,
Right.
because it's
Yeah.
the ego that says, unfortunately, it's true. It's the ego that says they're not awake, or the ego
Hmm.
says I'm awake.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just more of that judgment coming back. Yeah.
I like the way you started this thing too. So, like what you have been doing is getting into the field of conscious creation.
Hmm.
So maybe in order to stay neutral, we'll say it like this: not so much, you know, interacting with other conscious creators, but being in the field of conscious creation. What does that look like? What does conscious creation look like? Does conscious creation have agenda?
Right.
Does
Right.
conscious creation hoard, keep things to itself, possess, own? You
No.
know, what
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like you're saying about conscious creating, what exactly is that? The first thing that comes to my mind, or whatever you want to call it, is not thinking about or planning what you're going to say before you say it.
Yeah,
Is not thinking that you have to say things a certain way so you don't hurt someone else's feelings. Because if
yeah,
you're saying stuff straight from your heart, if you're just saying the truth, your truth, without any kind of baggage onto it, then you're naturally not going to hurt anybody's feelings. The only time you start hurting other people's feelings is when you start getting demeaning. You start but that's when the old world ego kicks in. But if you speak from your heart all the time, I notice that even if you say something that somebody may not like right off the bat, they automatically accept it.
yeah.
you
Well,
know
the truth, everybody recognizes the truth frequency.
hmm yeah.
And let's face it, in the conscious creation field, you can't, nobody plays, that field will not allow for people to play games,
No,
manipulation,
not even to yourself, especially to
deception,
yourself. Yeah.
agenda. Yeah.
Mhm.
But you can't bullshit the universe. And in
No.
conscious creation, in the conscious creation field, you know, that we're anchoring and expanding, none of the old stuff works. And I've said this many times. I was told 8, 9 years ago, like, I'm like, what sold you? What am I supposed to do with this? And they're like, whatever you do, don't do anything that's been done, because
Yeah.
what's been done didn't work. So we're moving to a higher perfection. Now we're in a serving the collective conscious creation field, and everybody brings their lunch bucket to work and
hmm
finds their specialty and focuses on that. There's no bosses. There's no managers.
Yeah.
There's no
No.
bosses.
Everybody's in their own power,
Yeah.
and they respect each other equally. Because that's what happens when you come from your heart. Just like you're saying, when you come from your heart, you can't help but respect that person.
Yeah.
You're not going to try to get over on somebody like that. I mean, like, if you're not at that level, like somebody else. Because I've noticed whenever people try to, I mean, which doesn't really happen anymore, but I noticed in the past when people would try to get over on me or try to get me to believe something, of course, right off the bat, your ego would kick in. But I notice now that I pretty much always, well, basically 100% always speak from my heart now. And I notice because I do that, that I no longer have those type of people. I mean, every once in a while, one may slide in, but for the most part, I don't have those type of people in my life anymore. They don't show up. It's like they don't even try to test me anymore because I've been tested so many times and I'm passing the tests,
Yeah.
you know? And another thing too, which I'm going to tell everybody, we already ascended. This is a big deal. We've already ascended. I've known this now for at least a month or two, but I'm telling everyone now, everyone in the world, we've already ascended. It's up to us to make that choice now. We have free will. It's up to you to make that choice yourself, but we've already ascended though. So I know a lot of people are going to have their opinions about that, which is perfectly fine. I'm just telling you mine. I'm telling you what I know and what I feel. And I've felt this for a while. I've had more and more confirmation about that as time goes on.
Well, yeah, we've
Now,
already
maybe that's
ascended.
more of a personal thing for me.
Mm.
I don't know who that, all encompasses, but the way I see it, I think this planet has already ascended. It's up to
So,
us to take the
well,
final steps.
yeah, but if we've already ascended, what steps are there to take?
Your choices, every choice you make, everything. Be very conscious. Like I said, conscious creator. That's what it's about right now. And not making excuses for being a conscious creator.
Yeah.
So every choice you make, every decision that we have, it's about making the best decision possible from your heart center. And the
Yeah.
more and more we do that, we're going to catch up to the planet's ascension. Because like I said, the planet is already ascended. So the way I see it is that we're catching up to it. And the way we catch up to it is by continuously being in your heart center. And the more and more you do it, I mean, it's freaking amazing. And you know how, people say that, which I can say it's definitely 100% true, because I've heard people talk about it, that once you ascend, that you'll have like this almost permanent orgasmic feeling type deal.
Yeah.
I've been feeling that like crazy, and that even started even before I even met you. Like I even started feeling that because remember the first time we met, I talked about that, but I told you that the whole world's about to change. So it's just a matter of time. So the best thing I think that we can do as a collective is accept it and then do the best we can in every moment of our entire lives. Because if we're waiting for the ascension, if we're waiting for disclosure, if we're waiting for something to come, we're not accepting the fact. So the first thing we need to do is accept it, and then we are in the Garden of Eden. This is heaven. This is the Garden of Eden. We are here. We've just been programmed and we've been told that it's not our entire lives. So now we need to realize the truth. We are
Yeah.
here.
Well, we set it up.
Oh yeah, it's a hell of a game, isn't it?
Purpose.
It's a
We
hell
set
of a
it up with
game.
a purpose. Yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just like, somebody just said, I think words are going to go away because they don't have the same meaning. And I think they're right.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It's hard to put things in words. It really is, especially now.
well, Lori Peterson said, I believe we can hurt others in speaking our truth, especially if they are still playing in victim mentality. I come from my heart. Sometimes it means releasing some people from my life, and that doesn't always go easily. I think a lot of people are dealing with that.
It's definitely not supposed to be easy. That's for sure. That's part of the game.
Well, I
But when
just
it
mean,
comes to,
I mean, you have to pick.
mm-hmm,
So being direct, like you're talking about, speaking the truth, right? I
mm-hmm.
mean, that's not been normal because
No, it
we
has
were
not.
all in this codependent frequency. Now we're doing it, and it's not always going to feel good to people. But to her point, sometimes you just got to cut it loose.
Well, it also, I mean, being a conscious creator also means being gentle, being kind, being courteous. I mean, all of that is encompassing the same thing. So just because you speak from your heart and you may feel that you want to say something, just because it's true, it may not be the right time or the
True.
right, you know.
Yeah,
So
you
you
have
have
to
to be
be. Yeah,
aware.
and maybe
Yeah,
that's where you just shake hands and part company.
exactly. If
Yeah.
it's not the right time with whomever that person is, like you're saying, sometimes it's
I've
best to just
had,
turn around
yeah,
and walk away.
I've had this happening with people unfriend me
Hmm.
because they don't get to come on the show when they want to, or whatever their agenda is, And I've had this happen quite a bit. I've been talking about it, but there's a part of me that wants to send them a note or get them on camera and say, "What the fuck is your problem?
Right.
Like, what did
Yeah.
I do to you? Why would you
Yeah.
unfriend me?" And put them on the spot and put their feet to the fire. But I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because that's not going to do anything. If the opportunity presented itself and the planets aligned and we were standing face to face and with the opportunity and it came up, that's different. But to go out and seek it and
Hmm.
you just like she said, you just let it go.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better just, as they say, turn the other cheek and just walk away, because there's a lot of people that are still playing the old game, which is completely reasonable, and I understand that, because
Yeah.
there's so many of us here on this planet. But when you are faced in the situation to where you run into those type of people that are so different from your vibration that you can't even really have a conversation with them,
Yeah.
then they're just not ready. Plain and simple, you know,
Well,
they're
it
just not
just
ready.
doesn't fit. That's all.
Hmm.
So it could be you're not ready,
Oh
or
yeah, it could
I'm
be.
not ready.
Hmm.
You know, like I'm not ready to call up 5 or 6 of these people and say, why did you do these things?
Hmm.
Like, I'm not a victim, but like, that was kind of asshole of you, you know?
Yeah.
Why would you make a video talking shit about Sology and Todd and Morgan? That's kind of shitty, you know?
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't have to do that.
No.
There's a part of me that would like to do it, but we're here. We're here to take the higher ground,
Hmm.
you know. And if I go over there thinking I'm so important that I've got to say this, yeah, I may be speaking some truth, but it's not coming from the right intention. And the point is, too, if I go do that, it's not about them; it's about me.
Well,
I got
right.
something in me that's not in alignment.
Yeah.
That's making myself the exception to the rule. Uh, there's a
Mhm.
there's a
Yeah.
sister in here, Luis. Do you know her? She's in the Zoom room. She's putting up some great comments.
I know Luis, but I'm sure there's a bunch of them out there. Yeah.
She said,
Gotcha.
the ego is to experience what goes on in the moment. Um, hang on, it just went up.
Now that kind of makes
Dahlia's in here
sense
now.
when you're using it in a healthy way.
He says we have made it work too hard by using it and our mind to try and work out what is going to happen. This is the job of the higher mind. Dahlia says higher ground, the lower vibration. In the end, the person's intention to attack, talk shit, they expose themselves. It's true, and I think that's what's happening, and I think that is what's making it easier for any of us to remain in silence, literally and energetically, is it allows that whatever came at you to feel itself, it's got nothing. It's like nothing came back. They
Yeah.
put their energy out there. They can sit with their energy. I can sit with my energy if I do something. I mean, but that's, I think, what's happening is we're having to look at our own stuff, and because it's becoming more and more distance between the polarities, and there's more magnification. On one hand, we can see things much better, and on the other hand, those things that we can't see in ourselves,
Hmm.
aren't, what I mean? They're
Oh yeah.
proportionately the other direction. You can't necessarily see it. And
Yeah.
this is, it's been a lot of stuff going on. You did 2 videos this week. It's not been easy on the human aspect,
No, and like I
but we're
said,
still.
I've only done a couple videos because, oh my goodness, I was hit. I mean, slammed hard. I mean,
what
as
what
well, I mean,
happened?
just slammed hard with energy. I mean, just the amount of downloads. I mean, I got to a point for a couple of days. I was literally like vibrating like crazy, sweating my ass off. Then I was cold and
Yeah,
tired and couldn't sleep. And just like, I mean, literally, like I felt like I was just like I was in a freaking tumbling wheel, you know?
yeah.
So I wasn't able to really put many videos out this week. But another part of that ego, like we're talking about, is I think that the parts that we should try to avoid the most is is when you're trying to protect yourself or when you're trying to attack somebody. Those are the two parts of the ego I think that we need to be careful about. Because other than that, the ego is not a bad thing. But when you're trying to protect yourself, because when you think that someone's saying something against you, when you're feeling like the victim, that's
Hmm.
that's a negative part of the ego or a certain part of the ego that will, because it'll try to protect you. And also when you feel aggression or something like that, towards someone, that's another part of the ego that. So it's about the polarities, like you're saying, is the ego is not a bad thing, but we need to be careful about how we use it and how far, are we doing good for ourselves and everyone else around us, or are
Well,
we just
yeah.
using it to protect ourselves?
Well, I think we've all had plenty of ego training now.
Right? Yeah. Oh
We
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
So the
Definitely.
ego's not the boss.
No, not
Whatever
anymore.
whatever the
That's for
ego
sure.
whatever the ego is, It's
Hmm.
not, it's not conducive to an experience of ease and grace if our ego is running the show.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still, we're all a work
Yeah.
in process. We're all a work in process.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh
universe
yeah.
is a work in process
Hmm.
because it chose to expand. So
Yeah.
there's no set template for the expansion. There's new sacred geometries created, new
Hmm.
species, new worlds, the whole nine yards. I mean, we're in one respect making this up as we go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I've
You
had
know,
some very interesting dreams lately too. That I had one that I kept finding myself at different parties and different houses and different locations. And I noticed that every location, every party I went to, I was constantly getting kicked out. Like every place I went in my dream, I was getting kicked out. I was getting
mm,
booted out. I was being rejected. So that tells me that's the old world. Just be like, okay, Steve, you played around in this old paradigm long enough. I mean, it's time to put up or shut up type deal. And that's basically what I've done. And I had another dream after that when it was, oh yeah, it had to do with, I guess maybe the whole Corona thing maybe kind of brought it up or whatever. But I remember whatever world I was in, that there was a big pandemic or something that everybody was talking about. And
mm.
what it was people were changing. Like one person's eye would be bigger than the other, or like their body was changing, and whomever was acting like it was a pandemic when actually it was just people ascending. Because as people ascend, I mean, we're probably going to change, like our physical and certain ways. And so that's kind of what I think this whole coronavirus thing is it's masking ascension symptoms, because a lot of these
Masking.
people that, yes, it's a way of making excuses for all these ascension symptoms that's going on right now.
Hmm. It's possible. I think it's. I'm sure it's multifaceted.
No, I'm sure it's way more than that, but I
Yeah.
think
I
that's a
mean,
big part
there's
of it
so
though.
many different. They talk about that it's kind of a diversion or a cover for the white hats taking out all the bad guys. I
Hmm.
mean, that it's not there. There's all the reports of the designating things as death due to COVID-19 when it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
There's so much stuff out there. It's like, what's real? What do you know?
Well,
And
see, that's
yeah,
yeah.
I really think that it's, one of the things I think it's helpful to remember is whether it's Trump or Q or the American government or any other thing, there has been and still is higher level dimensional species and influences and energies and entities and whatever you want to call it that are pushing the buttons. And
Yeah.
part of our part of our reality is we're not just claiming our sovereignty from these borders and these lawless laws and these writs of possession and copyrights, trademarks, and all this bullshit that is bullshit. We're actually claiming our sovereignty from those influences, no matter where they are, what timeline, what dimension. And that includes whatever forces have assisted us or, um, worked with us to create this imperfect realm in order to achieve the things that we're achieving. But, getting fixated on the stuff that's going on the global stage and becoming attached to it and handicapped by it is no different than that same thing happening energetically in your family circles or in your household or in your
Hmm.
business circles. I mean, this is the ascension. We're not stopping at being divine humans. We're divine. We're in the divine human body, anchoring the multidimensionality and all of everything that goes with it, the full blown Akashic, whatever the case is, uh, to claim our sovereignty in any moment. And I think that if there's going to be a worthy disclosure, because I think we're the disclosure,
Oh yeah.
then the conversation would be way above what it is today. And I mean way above, the things that are hitting the headlines. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely right in the right in the middle of all of this, because we still have a lot of the old 3D still here, and we have a lot of the 5D or whatever the new is. So we're kind of right in the middle of both of them. So we still have to kind of be careful in certain ways, but you don't have to make excuses for yourself. And that's the thing is, I realized because I spent about a week with my family, and I mean like a lot of my family, and we had a Fourth of July party with like
This was
40.
just in the last week or so.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And let me tell you, I was really actually amazed because when I first put my YouTube channel out, I had a lot of my family members I mean, they always thought that I was, the black sheep of the family. But after that YouTube channel, they're like, okay, he's definitely crazy. So I ended up running into some of them, and they were just nice as can be, and they were just all polite, and everybody was smiling and happy. So it's just amazing that, you can see even people that aren't on this path as we are, as active as we are. I can still see that people around me are changing. People around me are accepting things. And I mean, of course, a lot of people still like to bicker and argue and all that kind of stuff because that's just what they're used to.
Yeah, and
But
there's
you don't have,
as many people doing that in light worker circles proportionate to the collective,
that was part of the ego thing I want to
as
talk
in
about is the
any
spiritual ego.
as in
I've
any.
noticed. Yeah.
But yes, but we've had that. We've had that from religious standpoints. I mean, look at the Muslim,
Hmm.
Christian, all
Yeah.
that stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
you know, what were you just talking about? The whole thing with like,
Oh, your family and all that.
yeah, like okay, well, because again, and I'm trying to be careful about what comes out of my mouth.
That's another thing
And
I'm being very
and
careful about too.
but see, but the thing is, because like if we say something like, "There's a lot of 3D still here,"
Hmm.
or we've got to abide by paying taxes until it gets worked out. Well, how the fuck do you think it's going to get worked out?
Right.
How do
Yeah.
you think it's going to get worked out if we're, words or spells?
That's true. That's true.
So I mean, we got to be careful about what we're saying. If it only pertains to
Mhm.
us, I understand that's a difference between what a statement we might make about the world itself, but they both carry the same impact. You're sending out an energetic imprint out into this realm, in all aspects of it. So back to you know, the what you said about your family. My brother, who I hadn't seen in 10 years until the day before I came to see you. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. He's 10 years younger than me. And anyway, before I came to see you, I spent the night with him. And anyway, he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, I'll go on the show with you." So we did a show 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And he's not in these circles. He's not in these circles, but he's awake.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't know how many people aren't awake. I don't know where the parameters of that definition are, but I know that with everything that's going on in 2020, there are certain things that are on most people's minds, or they've had to consider or contend with. Almost like the playing field's getting leveled off and evened out a little bit.
It is. It is definitely. And I think the most important thing that we can do just in general is just hold that space, you know, because if someone's going through a hard time or whatever it may be, like I've noticed, I did that last week, with somebody in my family. They're having a really hard time with something. And I noticed that my immediate reaction was to not react, was
Yeah.
just to hold the space.
Yeah.
Don't get angry, don't get upset, don't get judgmental, just hold space.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Hold space over the need to be right.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about being, because that's just all, more judgmental stuff, and it's just about, oh well, I'm right. I've been doing this my whole life, so I know what. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like projection.
Mm-hmm.
So, the old thing of, oh, you started it. Well, projection is projection. Doesn't matter who started the fight.
Oh yeah.
So this holding space thing, just being quiet, this holding
And
space
staying in
thing.
a and
Just,
staying in a certain vibration, like don't, or at least just basically just being quiet is basically good enough, half the time. So, and that also brought up something too when you were talking about family. I noticed you said something about that. It's not just that my family in general has changed, but like you're saying, how I view them has
mhm,
changed.
yeah.
So it's because I've always had some kind of resentment, towards my family because I was never like the family guy. I've always felt kind of like shunned and, and all that kind of stuff. So now, like, all that's gone. So I view them in a whole different light. So I think I've changed just as much as they have, or vice versa, whatever you want to say.
Well,
So it's,
it is vice versa.
yeah.
And that's the whole point. The whole point is the only piece of real estate that you own in the universe is you. The only thing you can own is
Yeah.
yourself.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh yeah.
get your nose out of my business, and I'll have my nose out of your business. This, you know, you're right. If you focus, or I focus, or anyone focuses on their alignment, because having the desire to be in greater alignment, the universe hears that. The universe works with you on that. You're going to get there. All right.
Mhm.
You're going to be heading that direction. But that's the biggest thing you can do. And when you do that, you're affecting those around you, to include every circle outside of you in this realm and beyond.
Yeah.
And so going back to what you said at the top of the show, what's conscious creation? What's the conscious creation field? What's a conscious creator? Uh, we were always the creator.
Hmm.
The only thing is we were unconscious creators. And
And
so
that's the first
now,
thing. Yeah. You
yeah,
need
so
to realize
now
you were
we can
unconscious.
understand that part of the reason to be what you're calling a conscious creator is to have a, a, um, a more perfect experience, one that's more potentialized, to be in further of alignment, more ease and grace, because a big part of that is that we know what it's like to be unconscious creators.
Hmm.
Now we're aware. Now we know. So when we do something that's not for the highest and best good, it's going to be magnified, just as a pure intention from a conscious creator will be magnified. The price is bigger to pay now, but so is the payoff.
Oh yeah. I've definitely noticed that, especially recently, whenever I catch myself doing something not pure, not straight from my heart, not within alignment. I mean, it literally takes me fractions of a second. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like it's no longer, because in the past it used to take, weeks, days, hours. But now it's like as soon as I say, like, if I say something that's not true, or if I embellish something or anything like that, right off the bat, I'm just like, okay, correct that. I'm like, no, you know what I mean? I'm like,
You got
okay,
to
I
be
have to correct
careful.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got to be, not to say careful as in protecting or needing to be protected, but you got to be, you, that's why I've been talking about the last week on the shows is, I looked at my actions and then my words. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute. Well, I can even cut it off. I can take those two out of the equation if I focus on my thoughts. So then you have that whole thing go on in
Yeah.
your head. And then what do you carry forward? But yeah, I think we're all getting hit. We're all getting triggered. We're all learning. It's very much an in the present kind of game now. And the consequences and the effect of our energy is magnified one way or the other. We are the great divide. We have a choice in every moment of where we're going to be with that, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, and honestly, that feels really good to me. because I've always been the kind of guy that was great under pressure. So this is like, this is a whole new level. You know what I mean? Uh, I like being, because basically my entire life, one way that I've been able to 8 times out of 10 make the right decision is I've always imagined I was being videotaped. Everything I did, it didn't matter if
You
I was
are.
alone. Well, yeah,
You
I
are.
literally am.
That's the Akashic.
But well, yeah, that's actually
And
true.
that's including your
Yeah,
thoughts. And
yeah,
I've told this story before. I just told it a few days ago too. But I remember when I was on the streets, and they told me at one point as they're trying to, the you, me, we, and it, they're trying to like get me to a certain place. They said, just imagine, just understand this, that at a certain point, everyone in the entire world is going to know everything you've ever done.
yeah,
Every
yeah,
single thing you've ever done, every
mhm,
impure thought you've ever had, everything.
yeah.
And it scared the hell out of me for a second. Then I thought, wait a minute. Well, if it's true for me, it's true for everybody.
Right.
So then I
Yeah,
understood that was just describing a pure telepathic field. So there is no need for transparency because it's purely transparent.
because there won't be a
There is
choice.
no need for
Yeah,
suspicion because nothing is anything but the real deal.
you can't
There's all
hide
these
anything.
things, go away that we're still carrying. And that I think this is what we're working on. I think this is how it's done. I think it's done on an individual basis, directly with the universe, mano a mano. And yeah, you can have a talk show, and yeah, you can have a conversation with a group or your partner, or whatever the case is, but it really happens right here between your ears, figuratively and literally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's actually very simple. I mean, it may not be easy,
Mm-hmm.
but if you think about it, it's very, very simple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we've grown up and always thought that we had to embellish or we had to lie to get ourselves out of trouble or we had to act like that we're cool with certain things when we're not and all this kind of crap. So in order to purge all that, it takes a bit, as you know, it takes a bit. And and now, for the last few weeks or a month or whatever, since I've been speaking purely from my heart, it just, God, it feels good. I mean, because there is no baggage. I'm not trying to get over on anyone. I'm not trying to be deceitful. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I'm not trying to make myself look better. I mean,
Mm.
there's none of that. There's none of that there. And it's a continuous thing. Every conversation you have with every single human, like you're saying, and your thoughts as well, too. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing is a lot of people have a hard time with their thoughts, but I've been working on that for a long time, so I have a little jump start on that. And my thoughts, I've got them pretty good. I mean, not saying that they're perfect, but I've got them pretty darn good so far. So I'm on a good,
Well, you went celibate.
oh yeah, oh yeah, I mean, like I saying, not saying that I haven't talked to and met some pretty good connections, but physically, I haven't done anything. And shoot, since I met you, actually, because remember the time you came up here when I went to go meet that one girl?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do anything with her. We just talked. So the last time I did anything with anybody, it's been probably almost 2 months at least now.
Mm.
So,
Isn't that interesting? A new twist on these dating sites.
mhm. Yeah,
Like I don't want to get in your pants. I just want to go have a cup of coffee.
right.
Like
Yeah,
everything's being affected. These these things are happening, and everybody's being affected.
mhm.
I mean, if things for instance, keep going the same trajectory that they are in terms of the disclosure of the um, distorted sexual energy patterns, behaviors, occurrence, events, people, whatever the case is, that's all seems to be coming to the surface. That means that the container is being drained, right? It's
Mhm.
being that energy is coming out, being moved out, which means something's got to come in, which is this type of thing where you have a young guy like you who just comes to a certain point and says, I'm going to go celibate.
Like I want a true
I'm,
connection.
yeah.
I realize you can't have a real connection doing it the old way. And plus it's shallow and hollow and it's what it to me honestly, like I said before, like I'm not even attracted to somebody. I don't care how beautiful you are if if I don't vibe with you at a certain level, I mean, it's just like I'm not even interested, because I find myself now, like I said, talking to people that are closer to my, vibrational, level, and that to me is attractive.
Yeah.
I mean, even if nothing comes of it, it's just that's true connection right there.
Yeah.
Actually being able to be completely honest with somebody, 110%.
That's
You know,
intimacy.
that is
That's
that's
intimacy.
true intimacy. I love it. I do. I love it. I'm
I
just glad
mean,
to finally be here.
that's the most liberating thing we can do for each other, is to be able to speak to each other honestly. And and maybe that's part of the struggle too, is because we've spent so much time trying to withhold or suppress, you know,
Mhm.
our true feelings, because we didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or because it's just unconscious patterns or whatever. Part of it is actually, becoming comfortable, because we've all done that. We've all let our guard down with somebody, and then it gets turned on us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but, uh, but I think maybe that's one of the things that's we're getting used to, being able to have conversations, and in those conversations, because they are becoming more open, being able to talk about things we never thought we'd talk about. And I'm not
Yeah.
talking about like celibacy. I'm talking about like personal experiences and
Mhm.
personal things, and thoughts that come in your head, and you're like, why am I thinking that? And just different stuff like that you don't want to talk to people about because you're too embarrassed or ashamed.
But that comes down to your thoughts, like you were saying before.
Hmm.
Because if your thoughts are extremely well, if they're doing you harm, then that's something that you need to address. And a lot of that I realize comes from, well, the amount of TV that you watch, the amount, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, a lot of that kind of stuff around the people, about the different type of people you hang out with. Because if you're around certain people for long enough, if you watch enough TV, if you watch whatever, if you put yourself in a situation, you can't help but kind of take some of that on.
Of course,
So, you know,
absolutely, you're like my little brother said, you're being imprinted.
mm,
You are. We all
yeah,
are.
mhm,
So the thing about the whole thoughts, in the head, that because I was looking, I was like, okay, how do I stop this from happening? Well, you're not going to stop it from happening. It's the different thoughts are going to come in. That's just the way it works.
mhm.
It's a matter of what do you do from there.
It's a matter of
So just because
alchemizing
you
it.
thought something doesn't mean, like, if I said something, I saw something about somebody, and the thought came in subtly and subliminally, oh, I hope something bad happens to them. And I wouldn't think in those terms, but I wouldn't be, let's say I'm not happy for them. I don't like that. I don't have to project that thought out. I can take that thought and go, okay, that's not nice. Let me send them
Hmm.
some love, and not that fluffy love and light shit either. I'm talking about, let me send them me. Let me send them an aligned frequency, message, communication, whatever, that says, I wish you the best, and may all you do, um, serve the highest and best for all, just as I would do for
Yeah,
myself, or whatever it is that, this is the root of our creative abilities, is the imagination, what we
yeah,
call the imagination.
oh yeah.
Have
And
you
the
been getting have
imagination.
you been getting headaches,
I normally
dizziness?
never get headaches, but I
Yeah.
have been definitely feeling some pressure. And
I
oh
never
yeah,
get headaches, and I
yeah,
got like three this in the last week.
yeah, I've been definitely feeling a lot of pressure and a little bit of headache, because, like I said, I've almost never had headaches, but I have
Mm,
been feeling like slight headaches here and there, and a lot of pressure off and on,
mm.
and definitely some dizziness. And I mean, there was a couple of days when I was at my family's that I couldn't do anything. I mean, I was just like just to move exhausted me. I
Were
was
you
just
getting
like,
those like, you mentioned getting really overheated. I was getting overheated a
mhm,
lot. I couldn't even sleep last night.
oh
Um,
yeah,
I ended up, I went to bed early because I knew I had a lot to do today, and I got up at 7. But man, I was like totally uncomfortable. But I get these waves of, it's a heat.
mhm,
It's like a heat, like but it's not just the temperature. It's literally, like I can almost feel it like a plasma wave or something. And with it comes this drowsiness that's not like I'm going to go to sleep. It's just a drowsiness where you're kind of like out on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the headaches, and then the sensitivity to light. You know, I've had that happen, and a little bit of dizziness, and a little bit of, hey, where am I? What day is
Yeah.
it? What month is
Oh,
it? What year is it?
right.
You know,
Yeah.
stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Like, you know, have you been having that kind of stuff happen?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I honestly think that most of us, that are, you know, remotely close to the same vibration have experienced a lot of the exact same stuff. Because
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot of people and I hear everybody talking about it,
Yeah.
you know? And I know, I heard you talk about the light factor. I've noticed that sometimes light will be extremely bright and I can't even look at it, like I have to put sunglasses on.
Yeah.
I went out today just before the show. I went to the gas station and it's bright out. I mean, bright. I could look almost directly at the sun and my eyes were like, no problem.
Yeah.
So it just goes back and forth. Sometimes extremely sensitive, sometimes not at all. Like today, it's weird. I walked outside, everything seemed brighter. Everything had more, is vivid. Everything had more color. It's almost like I was walking through a TV show kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. This is the first, I mean, I've experienced that before, but today it was just like, holy crap, like this is a new world. Like I literally, everything was brighter. Everything was just more vivid. It was really weird. And the sun didn't hurt my eyes at all. I mean,
It's a good point, because there is a fluctuation going on in many different aspects, right? And
oh
then,
yeah.
because like, so we had a friend, an old friend of ours, passing through, heading over to California, stopped by last night, and we were out back, and all of a sudden, and I'm talking not 360 degrees, but probably 300 degrees of the sky was getting lit up by thunder booms. No
Hmm.
thunder, just lightning.
Oh wow.
And it
Yeah.
was crazy. Then the storm moved in, this cool air came in, and it was and I'm out there in my bare feet in the rain, just
Yeah.
knowing that we were part of the creation of this storm. Like it was in alignment with us. You know what I mean?
That's
And
actually, I've had the same exact experience with thunderstorms, especially the last couple of weeks. Like I'll notice that when I'm clearing or going through something, like a storm will go through it.
yeah.
Because I've noticed there's definitely a connection there. There's definitely
Well,
some type of
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you were talking about the fluctuations. Like you can't look at light, then you can look directly at the sun. I can do. I've had the same thing happen. So you have these. You're here, and then you're over here, and then you're here, then you're over here. And part of it, I think, is what I've been talking about these last some of these last few months has been about how the synchronicities are no longer just numbers. So like
no.
that
Yeah.
storm coming in last night, or a storm coming up behind you once you cleared something, this is real. It's
Hmm.
not a, oh my God, that's so cool. It's not like that. I'm saying this is actually how we operate.
Yeah. It's
And
almost
so,
impossible to deny now.
yeah, it's not, we are connected to it. And to think that one person or two people or three people standing in the back of a driveway could have something to do with what's going on. Well, it was more than us, but I'm just
Hmm.
saying we actually can do this.
Hmm.
Individually, we can do this. And there's
And the
people around
more,
the world. There's people around the world that can demonstrate this type of thing. But
oh yeah, oh yeah. And the more and more we learn how to be truly conscious creators, the more and more we'll affect our surroundings in greater and greater
yeah,
ways.
and
But I've
what
learned,
and what's interesting too. I love that you use that term. So, what does it take to be a conscious creator?
mhm,
What does it really take if you really just simplify it? What does it really take?
I would say the first thing that comes straight to mind when you say that is straight from your heart. Just that's it. Just,
Mm,
speak, think, and love straight from your heart. Like I said, don't think about what you're going to say. Don't think about what kind of intention you want to put out there. Just speak from your heart. I think that that's what, well, at least one of the first big steps of being a conscious creator is. Because if you think about it, the way this game is set up, you're only given a certain amount of power based on your certain level. It's like a video game. once you level up, then you get more abilities, right?
Right.
Because you can't give a monkey, an assault rifle and expect them not to shoot people.
Right.
So that's the same for us, is as we level up supposedly, or learn more, become more of a conscious creator, then we're realizing how much control and power, or whatever you want to call it, we actually do have.
Yeah.
Because it's not that we didn't have it before, we were just unaware of it. But I don't think that we had the amount of abilities to a certain level back before we were awake. Because, like I said, you can't give somebody your godlike powers that doesn't know that they're a god. That just doesn't make any sense, because they'll destroy everything around them. They'll get jealous, they'll get angry, they'll get upset, they'll get all these different things. But now that we're at a whole new level, and continuously learning from that we're realizing how much control and power that we actually do have, and that power and control is becoming greater and greater because we're aware of it. So the more awareness that we have of being a conscious creator, the more abilities and the more circumstances that we find ourselves in to be conscious creators, because we're doing it not just for ourselves, we're doing it for the entire collective.
Well, that was my point. My point was, you think about, okay, what's a conscious creator? Oh, well, you have to visualize this and meditate on that, and but it's not like that. Being a conscious creator really is owning your shift,
Yeah.
and you can't own your shift if you're concerned with other people. And you know what I mean by that? I mean, like, if you're spending your time, focused on their imperfections or whatever, you're not being as conscious of a creator as you could be, as we could be, as I could be.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, because it really just comes back to yourself, and we can hit this subject over and over and over again. It has been talked about for thousands of years. Go within, but it's true. And now we're actually having to walk the talk.
And that's the part I love. Like I said, I've always loved being under pressure. And I feel like I feel like that I'm on stage and all the cameras are facing right at me, and everyone's watching every move, every step I take, every breath I take. You know what I mean? And I freaking love it. Bring it on. Put me on the spot. Put me on the spot. I love that shit. And it's just getting greater and greater every moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. So we're putting you on the spot now. You got to either do a song or some light language, or both.
Era kampuntele testete mot de rural should Akamora para push it at the part of the poor. Stunder the hen hand to put it. Oh, okay. That gave me chills. All right.
I think you got some elemental going on with you.
I think I have a lot going on. Yeah, whatever it is.
We're all mutts, but I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You definitely have something going on there with that. I don't think I've heard one that sounds like that. It just sounds very elemental.
Well, I've actually, of course, that I'm in contact with Kuan Yin, and she's been doing. Oh my God, she's been going through so much. It's like, wow. I mean, both of us together, but she's definitely been going through a lot. But she did a QHHT, I think it's called, session.
Yeah.
And
now, did she do one as the client, or did she do one for you?
She did one as the client.
Okay.
She did one as the client.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she brought up a lot of stuff about me, saying that we definitely are from the same, family, which is out of the solar system. I can't remember the name of the planet, but it's something that I've never heard before. But as soon as she told me, I'm like, yup, I get that. And it's funny because of the name of the planet, it sounds like the same type of words that what I do my light language. It's like the same type.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Somebody said you were a know me homie. GNOMEY. This QHHT thing has been coming into my field. The friend of mine that came, she just did one, and it's on YouTube. She was the client, and it's just been coming in my field. couple days ago, I put the word out. Somebody want to do a QHHT. I'll be the client. We'll do it live so people can see what it's about.
That'd be awesome.
So I'm just curious. So I've been curious, like, okay, how does that work? Why do we need somebody else to take? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just trying to understand how this thing's evolving.
Yeah.
Like, why does somebody else need to be there if we can do it ourselves? You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
why
want to change.
Yeah. So I started talking to my friend this morning. We were talking about it. I was trying to understand it because she's very connected. And she said she needed it to be able to step away and get the mind out of the way. She needed that facilitator. And I I'm sure that's the case. So, I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that morphic field and connect with Dolores Cannon.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
Ask some questions there. I think this is another thing that we're starting to get into. This is why you've seen such a change in the practitioner-client relationship over the last few months, certainly this year, where there's more focus on the empowerment of the person and less on a long-term client-patient or practitioner-client relationship. So I guess what I'm saying is the more people, and we'll just use this as an example, the more people that tap into the morphic field with conscious, creative intention, the more that's going to become available. So even if let's say that I spend the next week connecting with Dolores Cannon in the morphic field, and I have whatever degree of success doing that, and expansion comes my way, I don't even have to go tell anybody that. The energetic imprint, the energetic echo of that experience, like all experiences, is going to permeate into this realm. So I think that for us to, having been in a realm where the imagination was seen as something that was generally not okay. Oh, you're daydreaming. Oh, that was just a dream. Oh,
just your imagination.
But the imagination, to cultivate the imagination, support it, nurture it, I think will serve us all. I think that's like the vehicle into the etheric field. It's like our complement to it, from our field.
I mean, that's probably one of the main reasons why we've been pushed away from it. We've been told that it's nothing. Oh, it's stupid. It's nothing. What are you doing? Just wasting your time, just staring out. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing that you realized about this reality, about this planet. That most of the things that are honestly true, we've been told the complete opposite. So it's all about the opposite of what it really is what it really is. So it's the fact that we've been made to believe that our imagination is useless. That right there is proof that it's how powerful that it really is.
Absolutely, man. All right, I'm getting tired. This is my back to work Sunday. Last night was my day. Last night was my day off. But actually, I felt it before we got on. I started getting hit with one of those waves again.
Well, right now, I tell you, I most certainly am. My body's vibrating and going definitely hot. That's for sure. I got 2 fans on me, and it's still not helping much. But yeah, definitely time to rest up. I'm gonna take it easy all week. But if you're But I was thinking in maybe about 2 weeks or something like that, I'm ready to take another road trip. So
we'll see where I'm at. Okay. If it's just, you're what, 8 hours? Yeah, you're 8 hours.
About 8 hours.
Yeah, we'll see where it's at. I was hoping to get some stuff done this weekend, but I wasn't able to. So with some other things have come up. But I think that's, we'll just touch base and yes, certainly, be open to that.
Yeah, like I said, there's no set time. Just, I figure around 2 weeks or so, give or take.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, right on. Yeah, I might come back on later today. Maybe we'll do something spontaneously. I'm gonna have to go rest at this point. We got a whole
Right.
bunch of shows this week. We got
Oh dear. Yeah.
3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Holy Jesus.
18
You ain't
shows the
kidding.
next 7 days. Yeah.
I tell you what,
So,
man. I mean, you have to be your, you know, in your, you have to be your true self, and you have to be honest in order for you to do this as much as you do. Because if it was any other way, you couldn't do it.
no,
You know?
has to be real.
Has to be.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. Imagine
That's-
trying to do 20 shows in a week while not being genuine and honest.
The universe would embarrass the hell out of you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to. I mean, I don't think about it. It's like you said, but what's a conscious creator? You don't think, you just go out and do it. And so, like was like 3-4 days ago. I mean, I'm first show of the day. I'm up to 5:30 in the morning. The universe presented something to me, and it rocked me, and I'm crying. And then I get on the show at 11 a.m. and I'm fucking crying 3 minutes into it on the screen. So.
Yeah, I love it.
We just have to bring our best, like you said, and sometimes the best is the truth. That's all I can say.
It really is. I mean, that should be our fallback, or that should be our knee-jerk reaction from now on, is honesty.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll catch up with you later, man.
All right, brother. Love you.
All right, you take care.
Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Bye-bye.